Hi class, welcome to chapter 14, which is our digital global marketing. This is our last video for this class, and I'm going to keep it open until we have our final, so you'll get a chance to get a few more points before we close it down. And this is really exciting because this is we're wrapping up the fourth P of marketing, which is digital marketing. And today we're going to cover 3 topics that are related to digital marketing. And the first one is going digital and what it means for us in terms of e-commerce. The second one is obstacles that we need to watch out as global marketers. And the third one is social media, course, which is a big topic, a big topic, and we'll try to cover some of the nuances for global marketers again. So first topic, which is going digital, is really important because there are different factors that affect us as marketers, one being e-commerce and how we sell our products. As we had mentioned in our distribution chapter, e-commerce is really important and is a fact of life nowadays. So 10% of all of global sales are done through e-commerce, meaning that we use some sort of website or some sort of portal where customers and buyers are coming together to have that exchange. So it's as you can see in the US, we're almost hitting that 10% mark as well, just like in global sales. And in China, we're about 13-14% of e-commerce sales. And what I mean by e-commerce again is buying online your products and services. Think about everything that you purchase online, whether it's a book, a textbook, music, product that you order so that you can receive it at your home. We are moving in that direction, and it's only going to increase from year to year. So it's really important for us to know that as international marketers that we pay attention to e-commerce in those countries where it's growing, especially here in the US it's growing. But if you look at Asian countries, it's even greater. And one of the reasons for that, and we've talked about this too in our distribution chapter, is because Asian countries have less developed distribution systems. Here in the US, we have wholesalers and retailers, middlemen, and a system that is an infrastructure that is very sophisticated. But in other Asian countries, we don't see that as much as here in the US. So that's one thing to keep in mind when selling things abroad. Another thing to keep in mind is that in China, for example, when you look at people who live in small cities or medium-sized cities, 20% of disposable income goes into shopping for necessities or for things online. When you look at the bigger cities in China, this number goes down to 18%, which is still pretty significant, but not as much as those rural areas. And again, the reason for that is because the infrastructure in China, like other Asian countries, is still developing and it's still in its infancy. So e-commerce is more important there. So something to keep in mind when you're setting up your websites or when you're making all of your products and services available worldwide, you have to keep in mind distribution systems, and that's part of going digital. Going digital also means promoting online, and something we need to keep in mind is, can we do it? What is the internet penetration for those countries? And that's part of our second section that I want to cover today, which is obstacles to global marketing. And global marketing, again, just going back a little bit more, it's not just e-commerce, it's also promotion, it's also communication. And if there is no internet usage in certain countries, or very low internet usage, it's going to be more difficult for us to go through that avenue. So it's important to look at the percentage of people who use internet daily. And here in the US, we're about 90% of internet usage. 90% of people are using internet consistently throughout their lives. And China is only 52%. Brazil is also pretty close, 50%, and other Latin American countries and Middle Eastern countries are anywhere from 40 to 50%. So think about what that means for a business that is trying to sell to that country and promote in that country, communicate in that country. It makes a big difference, and we need to be mindful of that obstacle. Other obstacles also include fraud. Credit card fraud is rampant. Hackers are usually on the lookout for companies, little mishaps and firewalls that they can break through. So a lot of millions of dollars and a lot of money has been stolen through credit card fraud. A lot of information has been stolen, and companies, even global companies, have lost millions, if not billions of dollars dealing with these challenges. So having a strong security system is important. And even if you are a small business owner, you also have to keep that in mind and make sure that all the information that you collect from people is kept safely. Another obstacle to going digital is the counterfeits. And the counterfeits that are being sold online are very rampant too, especially in China. So companies such as Alibaba, which I had talked about earlier, are trying to crack down on piracy and counterfeits, because this is also a big problem, and it's even bigger when you have an e-commerce site. Alibaba is of course a global company, and many companies that sell on that site can sell counterfeit products, which it also makes it difficult to trust a company or a seller. So that's another obstacle that we come into contact. Language is also another obstacle to people purchasing or communicating with us via the internet, and so we have to keep in mind that we must localize the language of the website if we want to connect with a specific target. So language is important. And also political threats and regulations can also keep companies from fully expanding their businesses online in a specific country. Cuba, for example, which still has a very censored internet and doesn't allow its people to browse too much outside only certain websites. So that's something to keep in mind when marketing to other countries. Now, our third and final topic that I want to cover today is, of course, social media. And social media you are very familiar with. These are social media platforms or networks that allow people to connect to each other, right? With sending information, sending photos, sending videos. That's something that we do every day as consumers, as people trying to connect with family members, with friends. But companies are also interested in being part of that conversation. So it's very important for companies to be in the proper social media networks so that they can talk to customers, they can talk to us, and create these communities that allow people to become more connected to the brand. As you probably know, there are many platforms out there, and some of the most popular global platforms are, of course, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Tumblr, YouTube, and some other ones that you love and usually my students really talk about is Instagram and Pinterest. So you're very familiar with all of these social media platforms, and when you're a marketer, a global marketer, you have to have that conversation with your customers wherever these platforms are attracting those users, right, in specific countries. You also have to keep in mind that certain countries have their own platforms. Ren, for example, is kind of like the Facebook of China. There's also the Twitter of China, which is also called Sina Weibo. So that one's those are big platforms that attract a lot of people, a lot of eyeballs. And as a company, you want to be with your customers. You want to be where they're talking. You want to be where they are. And usually you will look at those platforms where people are really connecting to each other and talking about your brand as well, especially if you're a big corporation, you want to be there. So social media is very important. It's going to continue to expand. I believe that it's a medium that it's not going to go away. More platforms are going to be sprouting, and we just have to be mindful of where our customers are. Where's our target market? So